Hello everyone, very good evening. Once again, welcome back to another session of Python. So we were discussing few things with respect to pandas package here. Let's continue with the same. So hope you people are liking our videos and trying to refresh the topics what you already know. Maybe there is like a threshold point where you reach that so that certain things you can get into your mind. We know many things, but to recollect at the right time to get the output to write the code is something which is very, very important. So that's where we are trying to push in the questions from different areas here. So where for past few days we were discussing certain things in the Python now where we have coming in with data operations, right? Where we know that in pandas this is going to happen very, very easily with pandas package. So generally when we talk about any particular package, whether it is numpy, pandas, stats models, or any forecasting models, we have different rich libraries. Now the trending part is that we have auto ML things coming into picture where everything is done automatically, just drag and drop, right? So that's where, but the question is how far we can trust these models or trust the output what we are getting from the data from the AutoML models. So the point here is it's just like getting the hints from the data whatever we have, right? Like when you're doing your auto EDA, you're exploring your data. As a data analyst, it's very, very important, and we are spending a lot of time for pre-processing. We know that 80% of the time is only going for analyzing the data. And so we have got rich libraries coming in for even EDA process where you have suite-based data prep, data profiling. So many certain libraries packages are we are able to retrieve, right? Certain things we are installing, certain things are directly given coming in with Python. So how trusty these are, right? It's just like getting the hints. So we are never saying that, okay, just do auto ADF, finish. You are able to get the insights of the data. Yes, we are getting the insights from the data, but some kind of manual testing is also required. Certain operations have to be performed using different libraries also, which have been used. Already we are using them. Okay. So to begin with, Bharat, what are the data operations in pandas? Can you please describe them?
Yes, Deepthi, we can definitely. Since we are using the pre-installed libraries like pandas and numpy to some extent, I would like to elaborate more on the pandas package that we are using. So we have different data operations for our data frame. Okay, to begin with, we have rows and columns selection. Okay, what we can do here is the capability lets you select a specific row and column of that particular data frame by just passing the name of the row and column. So what happens is when you select that particular row and column from the database, it becomes one dimensional and it is considered to be series. Okay, this is one of the capabilities. This is one of the operations. And then you can also filter the data. How do you filter the data? You can filter by providing some kind of a Boolean value, Boolean expression in our data frame. That is how you can use the filtering the data capabilities. That is one operation. And then you also have null values, right? You deal with null values. Okay. What happens is when there is no data in that particular item, okay, if there is no data available and the various columns may also not contain any values, right? So this is usually considered and represented as null values, that is NaN values, correct? We use this NaN.
Yeah.
In short, we say NaN, correct?
Yes.
And to
Not
deal with,
available.
correct, exactly, not available. Okay, so to deal with this null values, there are a few functions that we can use, and then we can operate on these predefined functions. Okay, I would like to further elaborate by using the capabilities of the function and the usability of these functions, which I commonly use. They are is null. Okay, so first, what is null does is it returns true if either one of the rows have the null values. Okay, and opposite of this is, it is obvious, not null. It is another function. It is like your reverse of what null does, or inverse to is null function. Okay, what happens is it returns the value which are non-null values, right?
Okay.
And then next you have drop your null values, that is drop NA values. So the function is drop NA. What it does is, this particular function, it evaluates and removes the null functions or null values from our rows and columns that we are dealing with. Okay.
Okay.
And another way of dealing with null values is fill NA. That is one of the functions. What fill NA does is it enables the users to substitute other values for the NaN values, that is N values. That is about fill NA function. And then you have replace function. See,
Okay.
replace function, I find it very powerful. That is because it does the job of what a regular expression does for us, or it does the job of what dictionary does for us, and it is like your string, series, and much more to deal with. And on the other hand, Deepthi, we have interpolate function. Okay, it is one of the useful functions that we can deal with. Is what happens is it can be used for filling out the null values in the series
Okay.
or a data frame.
Okay. So
So these
basically,
functions we can use
okay.
whichever are applicable. Of
Okay.
course, there could be more to it. So these are the
Basics.
familiar ones, and these are most commonly used functions that I can think of, and I can, I've been using them for a couple of time.
Okay. So you were talking about you can slice rows, you can slice
Correct.
the columns. You're
Exactly.
also filtering them based on you get the Boolean value as output. But when compared to all these, now null values is something which is very, very important for us, because data missing is something which is very, very common. And we are unaware of the things that why the data is missing. Maybe it did not get recorded properly, or you missed it out, or people did not disclose their data. Reason is unknown here. So data is also not known. So if you're not dealing with, if you're not focusing on this data which is not provided, whether it is a one data point or two data points, definitely yes, you need to drop them. So that is one way, which is the last option for us. Other most important technique is that you have to fill these NA values.
Correct.
Right, so you need to impute it to unless and until you do imputation, definitely you cannot say that the data is totally a completed form of data. So this is also one of the pre-processing required for any data, raw data we have picked in as a part of pre-processing. When you want to pre-process it, this is something what you do, right? Yeah. So Bharat, when we talk about when you already mentioned like rows and columns selection here, So I would like to know more from you. What about this pandas index?
Well, pandas index also is very robust while you are dealing with data frames, correct? So what we do is indexing in pandas. What it does is it is like a process where you can extract a specific row and a specific column of that particular data of your data frame. Okay, so what indexing mean, or what is indexing? So if you, what it does is you're simply selecting the rows of a particular column, or a part of rows and all the columns. Okay,
Yes.
that is correct.
Yes,
And
yes.
and there are, of course, different methods for obtaining these objects, right? You have elements, you have items, rows and columns, and data frame, right? And in pandas, some indexing methods can be used to retrieve similar, and you can also do it significantly different.
Okay.
Okay. And to elaborate further, the pandas supports four methods. Mainly, it supports the indexing operator. Okay.
Okay.
And then there is another method called as data frame location. That is, this method is used to label. This is used for labels. Okay. And data frame dot ILOC, that is index location. That is nothing but index location. So this particular method is used for integers or position based. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you also have data frame IX. Okay. And this is for both integers and labels.
Okay. So you mean to say that whenever we are giving data frame with, within something within the square brackets, it is nothing but you are trying to operate with indexing, right? You can give your own choice, like, 1 colon 3 comma 3 colon 4, right? So when you say 1 colon 3 and 1 2 3 colon 4, whatever it is, so the first section is pertaining to the number 1 colon 2 or 1 colon 3 is rows.
Correct.
Comma
Of your
colon
data frame.
Yeah, of the data frame, exactly.
Yes.
So that is your plain square brackets.
That is correct.
So certain times what happens is that you want to work with only columns. You have only one column, or you have only label series data, you have it, or if at all it is data frame also, you want to deal with only one particular column, not all the columns. So you can use that time .loc. So .loc, in between the double quotes or single quotes, you give your label, whether it is a column name or anything. Then ith location, right? When you are specifying the integer, right? It is for position based. I represents the integer.
Correct.
Yes. And ix is both. You can give your integer or you can give any label. Both. You are not confident at what you want to work with. You want to work with integers or you want to work with labels. That time it's good that we just go with ix. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that is something about the indexing. So Bharat, do you think is there any chance that pandas is even working with time series?
Time series and pandas.
Yes.
Yes, it does. Okay. It does work with time series as well. That particular package pandas. Okay. So it is. So we need to understand that time series is a ordered sequence of data, which basically is represented how the quantity of the data keeps changing over the time.
Okay.
So what pandas has is, it is the extensive capabilities and the features that we are talking about. So whatever you're working on, the time series data for all the domains that we are dealing with, right? And in addition to that, there is also the capability, or it supports pandas supports parsing the time series information from various sources and formats. That is one thing. And then it can generate sequences and fixed sequency dates, and of course time spans as well.
Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
then it also allows you to manipulate and convert the date and time with the time zone information. So here we are specifically looking at the time zone of any location. And
Okay.
then you're also allowed to resample or convert a particular time series to a sequency.
Okay.
Okay. And
Particular
then,
frequency. Okay.
correct, to any of the frequencies. In addition to these things, pandas will also let you perform the date and time, the arithmetic of the absolute relative increments, or a relative time increments. Let me put it that way.
Okay. So you mean to say that you can format the data,
Correct.
date and time, like you have many things which is supporting here, where
Yes.
it can generate in a sequence certain dates, right? Time, date and time.
Frequency of the
Yeah.
time, date,
Yes.
and the specific time frame as well.
Okay.
The
So,
time spans.
okay. So, Bharat, how do you format now? If at all you want to format data with
Mhm.
a given data frame in pandas, like you have a data frame, pandas data
Right.
frame, and you want to format the data.
So what happens is, we're talking about formatting the data, right?
Yes.
So what happens is, you want to deal with the data, and you're dealing with the actual data of your data frame. So what happens is, it keeps reading out the data to find out the most common asked questions. Okay, this is one of the examples that I would like to put.
Okay.
Okay, when you are dealing with formatting, so it keeps reading out all the common points. Okay, when it comes to formatting the data frames.
Okay.
Okay, and then you also have replacing. So these replacing occurs across the strings of your data frame.
Okay.
Okay, so we did discuss about the replace function, right?
Yes.
So what replace function does is, it replaces certain strings in your data frame, right?
Yeah.
What you can do is, you can simply pass the values that you would like to change.
Okay.
Okay, and then you want to, whatever value that you want to replace by. Like I
Okay.
said, there is also a regular expression argument that will let you work on, okay, with a
Okay.
combination, a string combination.
Yes.
So what I would like to, rather conclude is, what you do is, you mostly need to deal with what you want to, what you want the, what you want to replace the values with of your data frame.
Okay. So generally, when we want to work with text data, right? When you have strings here, we say that you want to replace all these occurrences. For instance, now when I'm working or when I want to know whether a review is positive or negative, I want to pull data from a website, IMDb reviews. I want to pull that data, and I've done certain cleansing part. So when we see any text data, it is not just like a row and column format. It is unstructured format. It's a bunch of lines what you have here, and it is not. It is a raw format. So nowadays people are having no time here to write full spelling for anything,
Correct.
good. They changed the entire English dictionary. It's like become GUD. YOU has become U. Certain things are there where, as a human, sometimes even we think, what is this shortcut? Right? I'll be right back. BRB.
Correct.
Right. So nowadays, now cam, speaker, whatever words you are talking, or movie is good, bad, you're not talking about the actor, actress, everything, people are using shortcuts. So we as humans are understanding this certain times. Okay, we just Google it. What's the shortcut for this? So we'll try to find out them. But how about a machine will understand these things? It just understands it and it thinks that it's a clutter and it ignores that. So when you're working with text data, it is very, very time taking for us to process the text data. It's not just that how easily we are working with a structured format of data. Like, from past 2 days or 3 days, our friends, Bharat and Ashosh, are creating data frames very easily. Random data frames are generated. But when you talk about text data, it's not the same case here, because people use, when they're very much excited, they say, oh, some mobile phone or some movie, they put explanatory mark, they keep thumbnails, right? So much of clutter is there in your text data. So when this is all revolving, now how you will pass this machine? How will this be passed to an algorithm so it can understand all these things? That's where this replace function, or what Bharat has mentioned, regex expression library, we call it as regular expression library. These are very, very basic libraries what we are having here, right? But now we have very, very rich libraries which are available for cleansing the text data. So the point I want to mention here is, whenever you have so much of clutter, you want to remove the punctuation mark, you want to remove the question mark. I'm speaking from past half an hour. I have so many conjunctions where I'm trying to frame the sentence here, right? And, or, but, prepositions, so many things are there, but not all are important for you people. You want to know what is the question I have asked, what is the direct answer you got, I've created. So you want to remove all this. So there are so many stop words in your in my speech now when you convert it into a transcript, right? So all these things put under, and the inverted commas, the quotes, whatever we are having, everything should be removed and it should be a cleansed part. So as Bharat said, now we have seen that on strings, how do you change it to a lowercase, how do you change it to an uppercase, right? How you want to remove the punctuation mark, like replace all the punctuation marks have to be replaced with a space. With an empty space, you have to just do that. That's the only option we have, because how do you do that? You can't replace with a star. Again, star is something which is not known to the algorithm or a machine learning process what you are trying to do. So this is the highest time taking procedure when you are working with your text data. So as Bharat said, yes, it is simple ways that you replace all the occurrences of a string in a data frame, right? You're formatting your values, but most of the formatting is done only with the character data. So when you're trying to remove the parts, right, from the strings in the cells of your data frame, right, you have also, you can use a map function, I think. Bharat, can we do
That
that?
is right. You can use a map function as
Okay.
one
Yeah.
specific
Maybe we
function.
need to again add one custom function called as the lambda function,
Yes.
right? For each and every item, each and every word what we have in our total text data.
Correct. That is right.
Right? So maybe you need to pick up that, there is a very, very what you say, pattern matching libraries are
Yes.
there, where you want to dump that libraries here with apply function, or lambda functions and map function.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So Bharat, last and finally for the day, can you explain what is this categorical data in pandas?
We hear the term categorical data a lot when we are dealing with data, when we are dealing with packages. What happens is, in pandas, categorical data is defined as a type that corresponds to the categorical variable in the statistical terms. Okay. So this particular categorical variable or data is generally used to limit. Okay. Usually there are fixed number of possible values. For example, you have country, right? You have, gender, you have population, basically you have race, and then you have the social class, time, right, rating, etc. You can also look at scales. All these things, all these values come under categorical data. Okay.
Okay.
Or you can use this one way of looking at it. And then how are these categorical data benefit us? How are they helping us? So one thing is, they are, like I said, we are using it for our string variables that consist of very few you know unusual, not so unique values, that is different values. So what happens is, if you want to save some memory, what do? You simply convert a string value to a categorical value. Okay.
Oh,
And then it is also useful for the signal. Okay. What is happening is, in signal, there are other Python libraries as well. Okay. That is because of the column that is being treated as a categorical data.
okay.
Okay.
Oh,
So you,
Bharat, if at all I'm not wrong, this is also useful for your lexicographical order, right? Of a
that is
variable,
correct. That is correct.
right? You're
So it
converting.
is not the same logical order,
Yeah.
like 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
So what happens is, by converting these things into categorical and a specific order, you're basically, trying to sort things like like maximum price, minimum price, exactly,
Yeah, yeah,
something like that. There is
yeah.
some logical order to it instead of a lexical order,
Okay. So
right?
I to put it in easy terms, maybe it's correct or wrong. You just correct me if at all I'm wrong.
Mhm.
So any operation, any mathematical operation where we are not performing on the data, that can be called as a categorical data,
Correct.
right? So
Yeah.
if at all you take oranges, apples, bananas, anything, you cannot add them, you cannot do subtraction to them or
Correct.
divide them. So you can call it as categorical. So if at all, when you want to do certain changes to this data, which is categorical data, now you are talking about the lexicographical or alphabetical order, right? Where you need certain values to it, right? Like Bharat mentioned, observation time, ratings via Likert scales, right? Gender, country, anything, whatever we are having, which starts, which is a character data, but it holds. It's something uh, it's limited. It has a fixed number of possible values. So if I say gender, it is male and female. Country is just limited. States, it's just limited. Right? Blood type you have, right? You have
Correct.
regions, different regions you have here. So all these put under, they fall under the category, right? Anything where you don't have to perform any math operations, you can call it as a categorical data. But you need to focus on this when you're trying to pre-process it. Where
That is
there
correct.
again, our pandas is back with a bang to solve this problem, right?
Yes.
So thank you, Bharat, and thank you all for joining in. So please like, share, and subscribe our videos. Please follow our page, right, on Facebook and LinkedIn. Hope
And
if at all
also,
you have any suggestions, please post them, comment.
yes,
Yeah, Bharat.
uh, click on the bell icon to receive the notifications on these sessions, so that you can, schedule and join these sessions and equally participate with the questions and all.
Exactly. So before we sign off, see, friends, we have many other trainings coming up, right? We have started many other sessions, right, which are live on YouTube. Please subscribe to our channel to learn, because it's never ending. Learning is always it's continuous process. So happy learning, friends. Let's continue tomorrow with a